So it is official that there is going to be a Hot Wheels movie that is currently in development, and it's going to be directed by John Chu, who just came off of directing Wicked, which was a pretty good, successful musical. And he also did Crazy Rich Asians a few years ago. And apparently, the writers, as of now, are the writers for Creed 2, and they clone Tyrone, are going to be writing the script for it. And I have to say, I get this, but I don't. I see where they're coming from because Mattel, ever since Barbie, they've been trying to make every property they have into the next big multi-billion-dollar Barbie success. I mean, A24, they're making the Barney movie, which that's still fucking wild that there is actually a Barney movie being developed by A24. That still just sounds like a fever dream, but nonetheless. Mattel has been on a binge of trying to make their other toy brands into, another multi-billion dollar Barbie franchise. And, they got Barbie 2 that's in development. Don't know when that's going to come out. And they got Barney in development. Fuck, at this rate, they'll probably have an Uno movie in development at some point. But back to the Hot Wheels movie. I see where they're coming from because, they had Barbie. Why not try it with Hot Wheels? The problem with Hot Wheels is I just don't see how you can make a Hot Wheels movie, if that makes sense, because Hot Wheels is just cars. There's no lore, there's no characters, there's no graphic novels, or there's nothing to it. It's just cool cars. And there's 1,000 racing movies. We have from Pixar's Cars to Fast and Furious to Need for Speed to just an endless list of racing movies. And I don't know how you can make a Hot Wheels movie stand out above being anything else than another racing movie. And I mean, to try to outdo Fast and Furious would be damn near impossible at this point since they've gone off the fucking wall, literally gone to space now. So I don't even know how you could outdo Fast and Furious because they've just fucking lost the plot of what that was supposed to be. And then there's also the fact of, is this going to be, I presume it's not going to be R-rated. It's probably going to be for, everybody. So it's not going to be a hard R or a mature film. It's going to be a kid-friendly film. So you're going to kind of limit what you can do with that too. So I really don't know what they can do to make this film stand out as a Hot Wheels specific film because it just seems like this would be a generic run-of-the-mill action racing film. And I don't know what else you can do with this. At least with something like Barney, at least, I can see you can do things with that. Barney, even if it's in a very strange direction of A24, I can see the potential in a Barney movie. I can see the potential in a Barbie movie. I don't see really the potential in a Hot Wheels movie that's anything other than the endless amount of racing films and Fast and Furious, Need for Speed, Tokyo Drift knockoffs that there's already out there. There's an oversaturation of racing films out there. And Hot Wheels, I mean, everyone knows about Hot Wheels, but it doesn't really have the type of drawing power to be a film that a lot of other properties has, like, for example, Pokemon or even Barbie. It really doesn't have that type of power, star power. People know about Hot Wheels and kids play with Hot Wheels, but that's it. They're just cool toys. They're cool looking cars, and there's dozens of movies you can look at with cool looking cars. F1, the new movie with Brad Pitt. That's a really good racing film. Ford v Ferrari, good film. There's so many good racing films. I just don't know how this is going to stand out. So that's going to be the biggest challenge of this film is just trying to make this a uniquely Hot Wheels feel to it. I don't even know how you do that. But also the director is kind of interesting because John Chu, the director who's going to be attached to this, he's not really known for doing action films. He's done Wicked, he's done Crazy Rich Asians, and then I think he did back in like 2013 a G.I. Joe film, maybe. I might be wrong about that. But more so, he has not really done a lot of action, high intensity type of films. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not sure what type of film he's going to try to make with this. Not to say that he couldn't branch out and do something different. I mean, we've seen directors go from doing very drastically different genres to a completely different one and have done it pretty well. But what's funny is I think the director who would be the best suited for this is Michael Bay. Michael Bay, I think this would be a good project for him to really make his own. Because this film, I think, could benefit from the infamous Bayhem, as it's been come to known as from the Transformers franchise. I think he would be a really good filmmaker with all the type of high intensity action he likes to do, the crazy action sequences, the high speed chases. Pretty much Transformers without the robots is what you could do with a Hot Wheels film. It's just cars racing. Michael Bay's had a decade plus of racing cars, fancy luxury cars, some of the most expensive cars in the world Michael Bay's worked with as well. So I feel like Michael Bay, that would be a cool selling point. If for anything, just curiosity. Seeing Michael Bay directing a Hot Wheels film, if for anything, even people who may not even be a fan of Michael Bay would be curious. If for anything, you could get just curiosity from people just to see what is this going to be about. You got Michael Bay directing a Hot Wheels film. Now, it could backfire and people kind of just see this as like a Transformers knockoff and people just lose interest. But I think if you had Michael Bay, especially with his type of directing style, explosions, action, sexy women, okay, that might be a problem because I don't know. I'm not sure how far that they would want a rating to go for a Hot Wheels film, so Michael Bay might have to tone down a little bit of his style. But then again, maybe not because the Transformers films are supposed to be quote unquote for kids, and Transformers as a property is supposed to be a kid's toy. And we saw what he did with that, so who knows? Who knows? Assuming Mattel ever let Michael Bay or even was interested in Michael Bay directing a Hot Wheels film, I'm not sure how far they'd let him go with his type of filmmaking. But nonetheless, I think a director like Michael Bay would be really well suited for a project like this because he just has that type of chaotic, high intensity action, non-stop action, explosive filmmaking that could actually make a Hot Wheels film unique. Hell, I mean, since we're kind of spitballing, why not make like a Mad Max type of Hot Wheels film? That could be cool if it's done correctly. It'd be something different, something unique. It'd make it stand out from just being a generic Need for Speed, Fast and Furious ripoff because honestly, that's what this is all gonna look like. I've seen comments already of people just saying like, oh, so this is just like Fast and Furious but with the Hot Wheels name slapped on it, which is true. That's what this is pretty much. It's kind of hard to say that that's not what it is. And unless they do something very unique with this, I just don't see this really making much money. I don't know if that's going to be a bomb per se, but I just don't think this film is really going to be much of anything. I don't think people are going to be that interested in a Hot Wheels film because, again, what is there about Hot Wheels to be interested in? At least with something like Pokemon or Transformers or Barbie or any of the other toy brands that have become really successful franchises, there was a lot there to be interested in. There's nothing there for Hot Wheels. There's no characters, there's no established plot, there's no villains or heroes or iconic characters or iconic stories. There's nothing. And it's just about cars. And we've had tons of movies about cars from Baby Driver, F1, Ford v Ferrari, Pixar's Cars. Endless amount of car movies and car theme movies. So I don't know how they're going to overcome that. That's going to be the biggest challenge is trying to make this film stand out and make it actually a uniquely interesting film because I just don't see with what Hot Wheels is as a franchise and what people already know is like a racing film because we've seen so many racing films and I think there's another Fast and Furious coming out. So I don't know what they're going to try to do to make this different and considering the director they got, I'm sure he'll probably do something unique, but I just don't know if it's going to be something people are going to be interested in watching now. I don't think that this is probably going to be one of the lesser of the Mattel adaptations. I think fucking Barney probably will do better. No, matter of fact, I'm willing to predict right now that Barney will do a whole lot better than Hot Wheels will, and definitely will do way worse than Barbie 2 because that's destined to make at least $1 billion, even if it's terrible. And if it bombs, I mean, it might make Mattel reconsider adapting a few different toy brands, but honestly, I doubt it's going to really deter them from continuing to make more films. Because if Barbie 2 makes more money than the first one or makes as much, that's going to be incentive enough. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with this, and what exactly this film looks like as it gets closer to being actually, made, and we see trailers. It'll be interesting to see who they cast and who'll be involved with it. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. If you're interested, if you're not, if you think it's going to be a disaster, let me know down below. But with that said, I'm gonna call it a day here, and I'll see you good people later.